Hi, this is CF Lieu here again. Now, in this lesson, I want to share with you one of the case study that I promised you about a company uh, that is a case study, right? It's a case study saying that this company, from value investing standpoint, back in the years, it would have fit every principles of value investing in the book. Okay, yet after this shit hits the fan, it actually goes downhill from here. And this company, I'm going to explain why, right? I have this so-called story over here that I'm going to tell you about, right? And what happened if once the shit hits the fan, it just the value, the stock price just dropped 90%, right? This is an exact example of why value investing alone and why if you're talking about robo-advisor and all that, they would have never seen this coming. Because you would have known, you take a human to actually think forward and know all this instead of just looking at the figures and numbers and all that, right? This company is called Valiant Pharmaceuticals. In 2018, it has rebranded to so-called a Bosch Health Companies. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but basically, here's the thing. You see, the way a lot of pharmaceutical companies operate is that most of their huge big ticket expense is in R&D, research and development. Okay, why? Because they want to develop and research, improve new drugs, especially cancer drugs and all that. These are big, huge money. It's a huge cost, and the thing is, most of this R&D actually goes down the drain. Because most of this money will be so-called wasted because out of 100 trials or experiment R&D, maybe one or two will become successful. But this one or two will become one of their flagship product and they can sell for, annually billions of dollars and whatever that is. But they have, without doing this R&D, they could not have discovered this 1% or 2% of the experiment that they do that really works and can be monetized, can be sold, right? So the management, Valiant Pharmaceutical, back in the days before they being renamed, their genius idea was to say that, hey, since R&D was the largest amount of so-called largest amount of our expenses, why don't we just eliminate our research and development R&D? So we just cut costs by a lot, right? A huge chunk. And thereby, just at the tap of the finger, the net profit, their earnings are actually shoot up hundreds over percent or few hundred over percent. So their earnings report become spectacular and it looks like the best company ever in the pharmaceutical industry. So what happened is that the CEO purchased private jets. They start to become famous, sitting at sports game, eating dinners with celebrities and all sort of things that makes him not to be focusing on running the business like what their competitors are running ahead of them or how each pharmaceutical company are supposed to be run. So because of their huge net earnings and all that, the CEO looks like a god. And the company becomes like the favorite of the stock market, the analysts. But where did they go wrong? So over time, as you can see that time is the true metric that will review everything. Okay, it's the mechanism that corrects the market and it separates the value creators from what we call as the perception manipulators. So because they cut their R&D, the earnings go up. So just a perception, a short-term thing. Well, what happened? What happened if you eliminate R&D? Okay, within 3 to 4 years, their competitors who still had their R&D departments, they came up with new and improved products in this kind of medicine or drugs. So because they are so outdated, so basically they are actually losing business. So they are no longer, now they don't have new product, they have no new sales, they have no their expense, they still have to pay for their staff expense and all that. So very quickly they fail in a spectacular fashion. And you can see what happened is that the CEO, as you can see from this news piece, you can actually Google for this is a bit small to actually see. They even have problem, what we call as a improper accounting or accounting irregularity. So that is the killing part. And you see that there's a lot of these people, don't they have common sense to not invest in this company? But the thing is, no, right? Even billionaire, Bill Ackman is one of the billionaire in the US, which is quite popular, run a hedge fund and all that. He also suffered a 4 billion loss because he invested in this company. And if you talk about value investing and all that, don't people, smart people like those billionaires know? Even if they don't know, they can hire people who are PhD, who are smart people, high IQ that can actually foresee or even say that, hey, this is really not good. So, like I say, you don't really need to be too smart to actually have high IQ to actually say that, not to invest in something which is cooked up, what we call is artificial, but artificially inflated figures. If you only use value investing, look at that, okay? And value investing, don't get me wrong, I also know how to value invest. The thing is, you have to look at the management, the qualitative factors of it. But again, some of these qualitative factors actually sometimes, if you are not an expert in this field, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know how to see. You don't even know if this is the right way to operate because you are not an expert in this field, which is why in one of the lessons we talk about focus. You focus on what you know. If you do not focus on what you know, you wouldn't know, even though the things are bad, you wouldn't know that things are heading downhill, right? So that is one thing. Again, I hope this serves as a value lesson because value investing alone does not solve all of your problem. This company is a perfect example of value investing done right, but still you make you lose money because these are the things, cutting R&D and the things, these are the things that make the market value this company very good in the short term, but in the long term, time you actually punish them. So that being said, CF Lieu here, and let's head on to the next lesson.